Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we are going to start with some new PNSO figures that are actually the new minis. Although they're not quite as small as a lot of the other minis were from that large box of minis that I had reviewed previously, these ones are slightly bigger for the most part, and they definitely have a good bit more detail and nicer paint application in comparison to the smaller ones. Not saying that the smaller ones look bad, because by no means did they. They looked fantastic. But these ones are a little bit bigger, a little bit more detailed. As you can see, the very first one that we are going to look at is Shan Shan the Gigantoraptor. And this is one that's probably the one I was looking forward to the most. Actually, probably the second most out of this new line of minifigures that they just released. I do have all of them to look at with you guys, but as I said, I'm going to start with this one because this is one that I think a lot of people are looking forward to, myself included. It's probably my second most anticipated one as far as these newer minifigures go. The box looks really nice, as you can see next to my hand. It's very small, and just in general, the fact that you get a box with this shows you the difference between this and the previous minifigures, as before they had more of a plastic see-through package. That's not the case with these newer ones. You can see you get a very nice box. You've got some info down on the bottom, a barcode on the side, same image on the opposing side, and a little bit of information there, and just a shot of the sky. So the sky, the top of the box, kind of meshes with the image of the Gigantoraptor right there. So without further ado, let's get this out of the box and take a look at it. First of all, we get another very cool booklet like PNSO always includes, which is super awesome to see. You get an image there of the Gigantoraptor, and then if you open it up, there we go. I knew there'd be some English somewhere. You get a whole bunch of information again on not only the Gigantoraptor, but also on PNSO as well. So super awesome booklet, something that I highly recommend. If I can get it closed, I don't know what I did. There we go. Super awesome booklet. I highly recommend anybody that does purchase this figure to go through with reading all of this, as I will definitely be doing the same. And here is our very cool, I'll turn him this way, Gigantoraptor, and at first glance it really looks beautiful. The sculpt is just phenomenal on this, and I love the fact that they released a Gigantoraptor in general, because we don't get very many of those. In fact, I think the only one I can even recall would be Collect A, so it's been a while since that figure was released, and that means that it's been a while since we had a Gigantoraptor from any company. Thankfully, PNSO has answered our calling for a new Gigantoraptor right here, and I'm really excited, so let's get a closer look. So starting up here with the head sculpt is phenomenal. Straight away you can see just how nice the sculpt and detail is, and I love that even up here on the beak it kind of has a little bit of a glossy appearance, so it gives you the real life shiny look that a beak would have. The eye also has some nice detail. You can see there's like a pinkish color around the eye, and the primary color of the head is a yellowish, and then as you get closer to the beak it turns to a very dark yellow, almost a brownish yellow. It is really beautifully applied. The transition between the yellow to that darker yellow on the beak is so smooth. It really looks very legit, very realistic. The underside of the neck here is a nice whitish color, which I think meshes really well with the yellow that is the primary color of the Gigantoraptor. You can see that the feathering all over it looks really nice. As you run down the neck, you kind of get the feeling of maybe shaggy feathers. It's a very nice long and curved neck. You get down here into the body, you can definitely pick up on the shoulder blade there, and in general the bone structure of the entire arm. As you run out the length of the arm, the color beautifully transitions to a brown here, right in the wrist area, and then gets to a darker brown, almost a burnt umber, on the edge of the fingers and the claws. Really looks beautiful. I think that brown meshes really well with the rest of the coloration of the animal. And you also get like a lighter color here on the edge of these flight feathers. The detail on the feathers themselves, if we can focus, looks pretty nice. Definitely very nice shaggy feathering all over, but then on the feathers of the wing it definitely looks like a nicer, more defined flight feather type of an appearance. I really like the sculpt and detail of this. Again, you can continue to see the nice, very thick feathering that you have all over the place, kind of shaggy, almost emu-like feathering. You've also got the nice hip bone here elaborated a little bit. You can actually take note of the musculature there in the thigh as I turn it. As you come down the leg, you can pick up on the kneecap there. Some nicely sculpted calf muscles, and you've got some foliage here that is really nicely painted and just kind of runs up and meshes together with the legs, as this is clearly walking through a jungle setting. As you get down into the feet, it's a little hard to catch on the other side because of the foliage there, but the feet look really nice, beautifully painted. Again, they transition to that brown. Unfortunately, mine almost has some green there on the toe. It looks like maybe I'll just consider that like a part of the leaf there of that foliage fell down on the toe. So I can cover that little tiny bit of sloppy paint there. Again, the feet look really nice, very bird-like. Nice dew claw here on the rear leg. And then as you come up here, you can again pick up on the very nice fluffy feathering, that shaggy feathering. Again, like I said, similar to like an emu or an ostrich. It even gets to a lighter color up here on the spine, just for a little bit there in the hip region. And then you can come out here to the tail feathers, and the tail feathers look really beautiful. Very striking appearance to the tail feathers, even though they are the same color as the rest of the body. It really does look quite beautiful. And the entire underside is also really nicely sculpted, but it's just primarily that white color. There isn't any other color variation for the underside really, just that white. If we take a look at this side, again, the eye is highlighted with that pinkish coloration around the black eye. The eyes are painted beautifully. The eye does shine like a realistic eye would. It's got a nice gloss to it, so it does look very realistic in my opinion. Nicely sculpted nostrils. The detail on this is phenomenal, honestly. Again, you see that shaggy feathering all the way down the neck, and you can pick up on lots of nice shaggy feathers all over the place throughout the entire body. The arm is pretty much in the same position on this side as it was on the opposing side, so there's not much difference as far as the sculpt goes. Same with the leg. The leg primarily looks the same as the opposing side, as does the tail, but it is really, really beautifully done. The base has just got like an earthy coloration, nice dirt area. It looks again like it's in the middle of a jungle. It's really fantastic looking. So as we know, these are minifigures, so they're fairly small. For a length, you're looking at about a little over 4 inches or 10 centimeters in length on the Gigantoraptor, and for a height, about 2.5 inches or about 6.5 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, and you can definitely tell now that this Gigantoraptor is really quite small in comparison to the fairly large Papo Rex, but you should also be able to tell that it's really quite incredible how much detail and sculpt they've crammed into something as small as this when you look at it next to the Papo Rex. And for another size comparison, you've got the previous minifigures from PNSO, which would be this guy right here. That is the Cryolophosaurus, and then next to him would be the Mattel minifigure Ceratosaurus. So if you happen to have either of these, you should be able to get a good idea of the size of this minifigure from PNSO, the Gigantoraptor. It's definitely a little bit bigger than the previous ones, but not huge or anything like that. Definitely still in the minifigure range, but I really think it looks quite amazing. So as far as minifigures go, these may be the best minifigures that I've seen from any company so far, or at least when we start with the Gigantoraptor. I haven't looked at the others yet, so I can't say for sure, but this Gigantoraptor is fantastic. I really like the sculpt. I think the sculpt just kind of portrays this as a very calm setting where it's just kind of walking along in a forested area, just kind of maybe looking for food down on the ground. He's leaning forward slightly, so maybe he's about to grab a hold of something and get a bite to eat. I think the paint application on this is really nice. You can see a few different tones of like a darker yellow, almost a brownish yellow throughout, and then lighter yellows in certain areas, but it's not really easy to pick up on, especially in camera. I think if you buy this and you look at it in person, you'll really be able to appreciate the paint application a little more and really take in the slight variations of color that have been included throughout. I think it does look very realistic. The yellowish is a bit of a bold color for a Gigantoraptor, but I think it actually does look really nice. The paint application of this does look very nice as well, as far as not being sloppy. It's really beautifully applied, very naturally applied, and I definitely think it looks really quite beautifully done. Overall, this is a very, very cool minifigure from PNSO, and I am super excited to bring it to you here and show you guys. I definitely recommend this. If you are interested in picking this up, head over to the Amazon PNSO store. I will include a link in the description to where you can pick up this Gigantoraptor for yourself. But before you do that, don't forget to please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.